Hello crafters, I'm JanB and I'm an independent Stepping Up demonstrator. Today I'm going to show you how I made this barn door card. I showed it on my blog this morning and I did say that I'm not particularly happy with that star there. So I'm going to change that. I've done another one, that's this one, and I did change it very slightly and I made it a much smaller star there, but I'm still not sure whether I like that or not. But overall, I loved the card. It was inspired by something that I saw by somebody called Michelle Wright. I couldn't quite see what her website was, but it was somethingcreative.com. So I'm sorry about that, Michelle. But I've made my own few changes, but it's I was definitely inspired by Michelle's card, so thanks for that, Michelle. Right, so what I'm going to do, I've got the metric and inches measurements, but instead of giving you all the pieces for all the stars, I've already die cut those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the stars and tell you which dies I've used. I am also going to give you the measurement of each star from point to point, just in case you don't have these dies. I know not all countries have access to Stampin' Up products, so if I at least give you the measurement across there, you can follow on with it. But I have forgotten to give the, did I? Yes, I've forgotten to put the metric measurements there. So let's start off with the card pieces that you're going to be needing. And first of all, you need a Whisper White card base, which measures 8 1/4 inches by 5 3/4, and this isn't scored yet. Okay, so that really is one sheet. And then you need a piece of gorgeous grape. I've got grey granite here because I was going to do it the other way around, but I changed my mind and didn't change this. Okay, so that's gorgeous grape, and that should measure 3 7/8 inches by 5 1/2 inches, which is, sorry, that is 21 by 14.5 centimetres. And that is 9.9 by 13.9 centimetres. And then you need a piece of Feels Like Frost Designer Series paper. And that measures 3 3/4 inches by 2 5/8 inches, which is 9.6 by 6.6 centimetres. And then you need a piece of Whisper White, which measures 3 3/4 inches by 2 3/4 inches, which is 9.6 by 6.9 centimetres. And then another piece of gorgeous grape, which measures 3 7/8 inches by 2 3/4 inches, which is 9.9 by 6.9 centimetres. A piece of copper foil, which measures 3 3/4 inches by 2 5/8 inches, which is 9.6 by 6.6 centimetres. And then a piece of gorgeous grape, which measures 3 3/4 inches by 1 1/2 inches, which is 9.6 by 3.8. And some Designer Series paper, which measures 3 3/4 inches by 1 3/8 inches, which is 9.6 by 3.5 centimetres. And now we come, oh, and also a scrap for the sentiment. That's Whisper White. Now with the stars, these are the stitched stars. And as you know, when I'm doing layering dies, I always start with the smallest die. Smallest die, smaller the number. So that's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so when I say number 7, it's this one that I'm talking about. So first of all, I will do the die numbers first, and then I will go back and tell you what the measurements are. Otherwise, it's going to get terribly confusing. All of this information will be in the box below the video. So first of all, the gorgeous grape stars, and you need 2 of them, they are number 7. So that's the largest die. I'm not going to be die cutting any of this because I've already done it. And then you need 2 in copper foil, and these are with die number 6. So that's smaller than this one, okay, and then 2 in grey granite. Now I just want to show you something about grey granite, because the colours that Stampin' Up give us to go with this designer series paper, they actually say smoky slate, but I think smoky slate is a bit of a cold colour in comparison to this. I felt that this colour goes better. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but if I can just show you these two like that, you see the difference in the colour. This has got like a slight tinge of a browny colour as far as I'm concerned, which gives it that little bit of warmth. But Stampin' Up do say smoky slate, so if you prefer to do that one, by all means. So 2 of these, and these are number 5. So that's, I got 5, 6, 7. All right, the 3 biggest ones that I'm using. I am also using, and I bet I've just lost this one. No, I haven't. Here we go. Right, and I got one, that tiny one, which I cut out with this tiny one here, which it's got stitching around the outside, but it only puts a stitching on the outside of the star. Okay, so that's just a plain star. So I'll be using that one as well, which is number 1. Now these here, the Whisper White ones, I've got 2. They have been made with the largest, what I'm calling the fancy die. All right, I think there's 4 of these. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a fabulous set of dies. They really are. If you haven't bought them, and you do have, you can get hold of Stampin' Up products. I really recommend it. And it's another one of those things that I will be keeping when they do retire. Fortunately, these are being carried forward, so okay for the time being. And this is what they look like when they're all die cut. Okay, so that's that tiny little one there that I've got down there. And those are all the stitched ones. And you'll also get all of this. Michelle used this bit on hers, as well as some of the stars. But these are the, and that's the biggest one there. Okay, so really, really lovely set, well worth it. Okay, so there are all the stars. Next thing I want to tell you about these stars are the measurements from point to point there. Okay, so number 7, the largest one, is 3 7/8 inches. The next one from point to point is 3 1/4 inches. The next one is 2 5/8 inches. This one's a little bit more difficult. It's 1 15/16 of an inch. When I put the measurements of these in the box below, I will convert that to metric for you. So at least you've got, you can work out the stars that you've got, how you can fit them in with it. And of course that tiny little one there. Okay, so let's put my stars somewhere safe. The first thing we're going to do is prepare our card base. I'm going to bring my trimmer over. Now what I'm going to do, first of all, make sure that you can see what I'm doing. I am going to line this up at 4 1/8 inches. And I am going to just give that a score, and then I'm going back up again with my cutting blade, and I am going to cut down to 2 3/4 inches. In fact, did I convert that? No, I didn't. But that should be 6.9 centimetres. Okay, so once you've cut that, turn your cardstock anti-clockwise, like that. And then line this up at 2 3/4 inches. So now you're going to cut from up there down to your cut line. Felt that move then. So that was convenient. Okay. So then you just need to fold that and use your bone folder to flatten it down. So that's your barn door, and as you know, when I'm using a trimmer, I always flatten my edges down with my bone folder when it's going to be seen on both sides. If it's just going to be adhered down onto cardstock, then I don't worry about it. Okay, so really and truly, this is just a question of putting everything together. I was going to do this with, what colour was I using? Granite grey. Granite grey? Grey granite. Always get that one wrong. Oh, I should really do the stamping first because I've used the Delicata copper ink and it does take a little while to dry. If you forget and do your stamping at the last minute, you can use the heat tool to dry it off. So if I just do that first, now that I've started, where's my little bit of scrap? It's here. This is my sentiment. In fact, I don't think that's going to be quite big enough. Where's that? Not that one. Where's the bit? Oh, here we go. That's the bit that I've just cut off. Because the die that I'm going to be using for that is one of the rectangle stitched dies. And I'm going to use the largest one in there. These I refer to as the regular shapes. And these ones I call as the thin ones. So I'm using the regular smallest one, so that would be number 1. And where it would fit, but I'd have to get it absolutely spot on. There's no room for me to make an error there, so I'll use a bigger piece. And my ink is, what do I do with the ink? I put it away, look at that. This ink has been beautiful. The silver, the copper and the gold, really lovely, and unfortunately it will not be carried forward, which is a real shame. If you don't have the ink, if you have copper embossing powder, you could heat emboss that, or at least use heat embossing. A bit of a misleading way to say that, isn't it? Right, so we've got that one, and then we've got these 2 pieces. So I'll do this one first, and I can see some lines there. You probably can't see them, but where I've used my trimmer. Also, this paper, the Feels Like Frost, and also the Brightly Gleaming, which is a design series paper I've used on this one, they are both being carried forward to next year, which is really very unusual. Stampin' Up haven't done that before. But it has been really, really popular. And I really hope it becomes a regular thing that Stampin' Up does, carry forward things like that. I can't feel which is the right side on this one. And I'll show you something else about the inside of this card where I did one differently from the other. And you will see that I prefer it being done this way. As you can see, that there's no gap there. But on this one, I left a gap between the 2. It was actually a mistake, to be honest, but I thought it was quite nice, quite like that. So I didn't try changing it. So you may prefer it with the gap there. Right, now that's done. Oh, I need my Big Shot for that. This one I embossed using the Scripty 3D embossing folder, and on this one I used the subtle embossing folder. I'm not sure which one you prefer. I'm not sure which one I prefer, but I think it's a scripty one that I brought over with me. But it makes a nice little addition to the card. So let's get these bits done first, as far as I can. And then I will see if my sentiment has dried sufficiently for me to put it through the Big Shot. Now this, the Gorgeous Grape, should line up with the Gorgeous Grape here. Okay, so it's come down like a straight line. I think that is nice and straight. I'll put this one on here, but I can't put it on until I've done my copper piece. Either end should meet with each other. If you find there one comes over, you can trim it off, unless you've got it one over like mine, which is so minute. I don't think I'll try cutting that. Right, okay, so we'll do this bit. And my embossing folder, what did I do with that? Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is the scripty, the writing. And I need that one as well. And the die to go with it. Right. So I've got the cutting platform on here first, so let's do the sentiment. If this hasn't dried properly, I'll use the one that I've got over there that I did earlier. I really love all these dies that have got the stitching on them. I just think it makes so much difference to whatever element you're working on. Oh no, that wasn't dry. You see, it does take a while to dry. So here's one I made earlier. We'll use that one. Right, now let's do the embossing with this one. I need to change the mats over. In fact, I don't need that one either for this, do I? This blue mat is Stampin' Up mat. They made it to go with the Big Shot platform when you're using 3D embossing folders. Right, now I want that side embossed, which means it's got to go on the side where it says Stampin' Up. And as it's writing, it really must be straight. Right, that looks good. Right, okay. And always make sure with your embossing folders that you put the fold of the embossing folder through your machine first. I know that applies to the Big Shot. I don't know about other machines, but the logic of it, I can see that it would affect other machines, because if you think about it, if you put the end first and then as you're putting pressure, there's room for the loose bits to move if needed to be, whereas if you put the fold last and the pressure starts squashing it, it's got nowhere to go, so it just puts too much pressure on the back there. I wish I knew the technical terms to use for that, but I'm sure you understand what I'm trying to say. Right, so that should be it for the Big Shot. There we go, look. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'm going to pop that onto there. And then for my other two pieces, oh, here they go. I knew that I'd adhered them together. In fact, that needs a reasonable amount of Tombow on there because you're going onto a raised surface where the embossing has been done. So now I come down and I only leave a little bit of the foil under here. And you should find that it will come up to the edge of the copper foiling. There we go. Make sure that's straight down there as well. There we go. Okay, so you can't see the copper foil through there or through there unless you tilt it. Okay, so that's that bit. Now with our stars, oh, with my little one. Oh, there it is. Right, these just need to be adhered together. Obviously there's a lot more work to this than you're seeing me do because you've got to get all your stars die cut. And I did think that you wouldn't want to have a video just sitting there watching me die cut hearts. If you're not sure about what colours you want to use, when you, I would suggest that you do your barn door card first, and then as you cut the pieces that you think you're going to put together, lay them on your actual card. For example, like this one here, what I did, I prepared one, and then I was going to do the grey granite. So I had that I've taken the other bit, haven't I? So if you imagine I'd got it all lined up and I'd made my made all my stars very roughly. I had one of those as well. In fact, no, that wasn't right, was it? It's that one, that one. No, I think I filed the other ones away. But basically what I did was I laid it like that, and I had my DSP there, and this was, I had all my bits here, and it just didn't look right at all. To have that grey granite, the gorgeous grape, just one, there just wasn't enough purple in there. But with the grey granite, there's plenty of grey granite in here. I mean, there is gorgeous grape, but there's not that much of it. So it was all a question of trying to get a balance. Right, so what did I do with my other? that'll teach me. There we go, come back. Make sure I've got my right ones. That one. That one. Not that one. Where's the smaller grey granite? That's not it, is it? I think I might have put that away as well. Oh no, here it is. There we go. That's it. Don't need that. These stars won't be wasted. They'll be going for another project. When you stick this third star on, if you're doing foil like I have, be very careful because it's so easy to let it slide across. And of course if you let it slide across you get glue where you don't want glue and it dulls the shine. Now this is a white one, and all I do with the white is I put some glue on the 5 points and then on the centerpiece, like that. Let's bring this one back. I like this colour choice, I think it's working well. So what I did was to adhere this one on, these two narrowest parts, I made those line up on the white crossbar there, and then I did it so that the points came just to the end of the purple there. Okay, so this comes down. This comes down just onto the sentiment bit. Okay, so I'm going to do just across here. And then just in case I get a bit clumsy, I'm going to open that up. Okay, I'll just make sure I've got that in the right position. Yep, that's good, happy with that. Ooh. Again, because it's on foil, it's very easy to make it slide. What I did next was I opened that up and I put glue all over this one. I wasn't going to do this at first, I was going to leave it looking like that because it looks fine, but then I thought no, it will look better if I put another complete star on there. So match that top point first, push these two down and then squeeze the sides together like that, making sure that it's gripping closed as well. But you can use your fingers to make sure these line up correctly. Okay. There's a lovely thickness to this star because of all those layers there. really is lovely. Okay, so there's the barn door. Looks lovely. Right, we'll do the sentiment. Is that the good one? No, that's the bad one. This is the good one. And I pop this on with dimensionals, which are here. And what I did was I used two little ones on either end. And then I did one big one in the middle. Alright, just make sure we get this straight. And again, I line this up with the points on the star. And I've made it central in there. So the edge there and the edge there. Okay, so that's that bit. And now for the decoration up here, I used the copper foil elements, which you get 5 sheets in a pack. I'm not really one for what I call stickers, but I did think that really and truly it's no different from die cutting shapes like this. Okay, so that's what I'm going to have. And basically you get, this is a complete sheet, you get 5 sheets of these, and in each of, oh that's better, and each of them that's it, there are 5, no there are 10 die cuts on each sheet. And the thing I like about these branches are they're opposite to each other, so you can put them like that, or you could put them like that. If you wanted to, the same, obviously you've got another 2 on this end. So well worth having, I think. And then these, so I can either put them like that, or I can put them like that. And I definitely think I prefer them that way. Let me have a look at my 2 finished cards. I don't know, I like them both really. Let's go that way, I think. Right, and also I don't know if you can see on here, what else I've done is I've used these Star Designer elements, copper stars, and I've put them like little flowers on my branches. And of course one in the centre there. So they're really, that's all part of the Brightly Gleaming suite. And as far as I know, they are still available, these little bits and pieces. Now to adhere this down, I just put glue on the back of the full leaves, complete leaves. I don't try going on the holy ones. And then I do use my scrap of paper just to give this a blot. I think it's important to be very careful when you're using foil not to get fingerprints and everything over these, because it does make the foil go very dull. There we go. Let's do this one. So again, I'm going to give this a blot, and then the stem comes about where that gold is, the copper is. Oh, Okay, now with my stars, no, that one's, I want to change the sticky on the back of that one. I don't know what's happened, but it feels like it's got a lot of gunk on it, so I need to clean it. I haven't really worked out where I put these stars, except I just want 3 on each branch. I also want one in the middle there. And it does just about fit in nicely, so each point goes into each of these 5 gaps. I've got 2 more here, so what I could do is just pop those on there. Different colour of copper, but that's okay. There we go. So that I think looks really lovely. I'm pleased with that. But do I need anything else on the inside? Now I'm going to open this up and you can tell me what you think. Does it need something here? Do I have any other? Oh yeah, I've got this one here. Oh, there's my little... No, white's too light, isn't it? Can't really see that. I don't think I've got any other die cut hearts here. So let me know what you think. Should it have something else on there, or should I leave well alone? I'm just going to put this little star in the centre. I might block that off. I'm just going to pop it in here so that it matches up with the one at the front. It's just that I don't want 3D. That's 3D, that one, so okay. So there we go. It's a really gorgeous project, and I really like this card. I love the design of it. Just really special. I hope you like it too, and I hope you decide to give it a try and experiment with what designer series paper you use as well. It's quite surprising. Well, I was surprised. Obviously it goes together with the Brightly Gleaming set, but I wasn't sure how it was going to work using another design. So yeah, it's good. I'm pleased. As I say, I will put all the measurements and the products that I've used in the box below. To access the box below, you need to be watching this video on YouTube, and depending on which device you're watching on, if you're something like on a laptop, there will be show more underneath a little bit of writing on the left hand side, or if you're on something like a mobile phone, it will be on the right hand side and it'll be down arrows that you need to click on. But whatever, you'll be able to open up the box, all the measurements, all the products. There'll be a link to my 24/7 online Stampin' Up shop. If you'd like to shop with me, I'd be really grateful for your business. And if you do shop, please remember to use the HOSTESS code for December 2019, and that way at the end of the month I can send you some free product. If you've enjoyed my video and you'd like to be notified each time I upload a new one, please click on the subscribe button down in the bottom right hand corner there, and then click on the bell. The bell says that yes, you'd like to be notified. And I think that's probably about it. I will be back with you next week, and in the meantime, happy crafting. Cheerio.